Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the seven churches. It's all the chapters 1 through 3 in Revelation, so it's a lot of content. So I'm not going to be reading just a whole lot from the Bible. I'm just going to talk from my notes, and so you'll have to do your own reading. But I will read certain scriptures. And so Revelation 1 is about John of Patmos, while in the Spirit of the Lord was visited by the Lord, who said, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. He seen a lot of visions and things, and that's how the book of Revelations came to be. And he saw 7 golden candlesticks and 7 stars. Who he saw was clothed with a garment down to the feet, had a golden girdle, hair was like wool and as white as snow, and his eyes were like a flame of fire. So I believe he was talking to Jesus. Has the keys of hell and of death. And John was told to write the things that he sees. And like I said, this is how the book of Revelation came to be. In verse 20, it talks about another mystery. It says, the mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. And so, again, another mystery is told, and that's what we're going to be following up in all these scriptures and notes as we go through today. 7 stars is in his right hands, which is the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 golden candlesticks is the 7 churches. So in Revelations 2, starts speaking to the churches. It says, I know thy works. So the first church, which is in chapter 2, verse 1, is Ephesus. And it says, good. If you keep reading, it says this church is good. They've labored, they have patience, cannot bear evil people. They tried apostles and found them liars and not fainted. We're going to read verse 2 and 4, which says, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love, which means they've lost that first love. And the first love is, note, first love is forsaken. When your fervent and heartfelt love for God gets pushed aside for this everyday life, it's all a distraction. And so he is telling them that they have lost that first love, and he's warning them to repent and do the first works, or he will remove the candlestick. And it goes on to mention hating the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which was pagan. And pagan is practicing earthly spirits, or these pagan holidays that everybody goes above and beyond to celebrate, and we're really not supposed to be doing that. And so Revelations 2 continues on in verse 7 about, it says, again mentions hath an ear, let him hear. We're going to hear this through these whole chapters. He that overcometh will eat from the tree of life. The second church, which is Smyrna, is first and last mentioned again, which was dead and is alive. And good knows the works. They've gone through tribulation. Their poverty makes them rich with Jesus. Speaks of blasphemy of them which say they are Jews but are not, but the synagogue of Satan. And we're going to read 2 verse 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And so he says not to fear the things that you suffer. It's all a tribulation. Speaks specifically about 10 days. I think some people are probably going to have some really bad 10-day periods in their life, and you've got to overcome, and you get a crown of life. And you won't be hurt of the second death. And note that there's no bad spoken of the church of Smyrna. The third church is Pergamos, and God speaks good of them where they dwell. They hold fast his name, not denying faith. The bad is the doctrine of Balaam. They're compromising with the surrounding secular culture for personal gain or convenience. So what's happening nowadays, y'all? People compromise and let their spiritual go to live in this earthly, environment that we're in. They cast stumbling blocks before the children of Israel. And so that right there, if you put something in somebody's way, like, say, have you ever been to church and got your feelings hurt and then never wanted to go back to church? That is what reminds me of a stumbling block. It mentions idols. We're not supposed to have any idols before them, and committing fornication, and everybody knows what that means. The doctrine of the Nicolaitans, I guess is how you say that. The first love, again, has been lost with this group, and he warns them to repent. We're going to read 2:17. It says, he that hath an ear, don't we hear that a lot lately, y'all? Let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it. And so he's telling us to have that ear, and we'll figure out how to get, our names written in that white stone that's coming. The fourth church is, I don't know if this is Thyatira or Thyatira. I don't know how to pronounce some of these. Thy works, charity, service, faith, patience, last to be more than the first. So he knows that they're doing good, but their bad was they were in the Jezebel ways, false prophets, committing fornications and idols. And it speaks of him giving this Jezebel a chance to repent, and she did not. So that's going to come into play in a little bit. We're going to read 2:22. It says, behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. And so he gave this Jezebel a chance to repent, and she did not. Are you going to repent? Jesus is telling what he will do to those that don't repent. Kill her children. This is a reference to people that follow these ways. That's what I believe. Moving on, we'll bless the ones that don't adhere to this doctrine, the Jezebel ways, so you'll be rewarded if you don't go those ways. And he's telling them to hold fast. Power over nations will be given to them, and rule with rods of iron. Vessels of potter shall be broken to shivers. And this group's going to be given the morning star. Hath an ear, saith to the churches. Hath an ear is through all of these chapters. The fifth church is Sardis, the seven spirits of God and the seven stars. He knows thy works. He tells them to be watchful and strengthen things that remain, that they are ready to die, meaning they're moving away from the church, so you have to revive your faith and your relationship. And then you have to hold fast and repent, or that thief in the night, which is the rapture, is going to pass you by. Not defiled and will walk in white. They are the worthy ones in this group. And if you overcome, then you'll be clothed in white. Write your name in the book of life. Again, hath an ear. And the church of Sardis, nothing bad is spoken of them. The sixth church is Philadelphia. He that is holy, he that is true, he hath the key of David. This is my note. This is my belief. I believe this is for the direct bloodline throughout the generations that came from David. There's an open door that no man can shut, and little strength kept his word, not denied his name. So these direct bloodlines are going to have that open door. We'll make the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. We'll make them worship before thy feet. They will know that I have loved thee. And so that's why I think it's all the direct bloodlines, because the ones that say they're Jews but not, but they would be if they're from the line of David. Kept word of patience, kept from temptation, which shall come upon all the world. Jesus was warning of what was to come in the future. And so he's saying, keep patience, keep away from temptations, and work your way towards what's coming. And it says, I'll come quickly, hold fast, and let no man take thy crown. So he's letting you know there, just hold tight. Continuing on in Philadelphia, reward for doing all these works. He's going to make a pillar in the temple and write upon him my new name, which is Jesus's, and the name that nobody knows, again hath an ear. The seventh church is Laodiceans or Laodiceans, I don't know how to say that, the faithful and true witness, beginning of the creation of God. It says, know thy works. Lukewarm is not hot or cold. So you've got to know the difference there, because he's going to spit you out of his mouth if you're lukewarm. It says, people that are rich, increased with goods, need nothing. You are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked, and don't even know it. And so we're going to read 3 and 18. It says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich in white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, and thou mayest see. And so what he's saying there is buy gold that can be tried by fire, meaning do his work, because that is what's going to be tried by fire. If you think gold in this world's going to hold you up, it's not. You've got to do his work and then be tried by his fire, and it's got to hold up. He goes on to say he loves us, but will rebuke and chasten us, so be zealous and repent. So he's letting us know, be ready for him. 3 verse 20 says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me. And so what he is saying there is he's going to come and stand at your door, meaning your personal door, the vessel that you're in, your body. He's going to come and stand at that door. Will you open it to dine with him, or are you going to rebuke him and push him away? Verse 21 says, to him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. And so it's saying, if you overcome, then you will sit on the throne like Jesus had to overcome this earthly life to return to his Father. And that is what is going to happen in the rapture. And 3 and 22 again, it says, hath an ear. So he's wanting you to listen to him. This is my note. So my opinion is the 7 churches represent 7 different types of people. And from this lesson, you can tell which category you fall into in this human life. Jesus is telling you specifically that you have to do what you have to do to correct your behavior if you have an ear to listen to his words. He also explains some of what to expect in heaven according to which church you belong to. It's categories, not an actual church. But do your own research and come to your own conclusion. This is mine. Just a quick review. So the 7 churches, this was when I was working on all the bowls, but I didn't have enough room. Ephesus, the good was they cannot bear evil, but the bad they left thy first love. Smyrna is good. The tribulation and poverty makes them rich, and he encourages them just to hold fast and get through that 10-day trial to overcome it. They didn't have anything bad said about them. Pergamos warns them to repent. Their good was not denying the faith, but their bad was throwing stumbling blocks and idols and fornication. Thyatira was warned to repent again. The good is charity, service, faith, and patience, but the bad is the Jezebel and the idols. So keep moving forward is Sardis. The good was they're watchful. He told them to be watchful and strengthened, and warns works perfect before God, watchful and strengthen the works perfect before God. The bad was he didn't really say anything but encourages repenting. And Philadelphia is good, the key of David. I think that's the bloodline. The bad about that was those false Jews that are lying, saying that they are. Laodicea was the faithful and true witness, but the bad, they're lukewarm and warns to repent. And buying the gold, Jesus says, be zealous and repent, and that gold that's going to be tried by fire. So, and Thyatira will get power over the nations and the morning star. And so that's just a quick overview. This is something from Google. I want you to do your own research. I'll have this in the notes put up, but this is how theologists think that it happened. Like the Ephesus was the first church during this time period, and this is what I wanted to point out. They're thinking that Laodicea is the seventh church, and it's the end times. And what do we think we're in right now? The end times, and it's warning people not to be lukewarm. This is a good way to look at the mystery of the seven churches throughout history. We are at the last church, end times. I don't necessarily agree with all of this, but I wanted to spark your mind again and do your own research. You have to build that relationship with Jesus and God and have your own personal belief system from what you study and believe, not what somebody else is telling you. But this is just another way to look at the seven churches. I've learned a lot through this, and I hope that y'all have as well. And I hope y'all have a God bless day.